nerds for Yang.
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds! Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Now with this campaign, bang, dang, it's Andrew. Come roll with the Yang Gang.
Hello, nerds! Oh,
Hello,
in the house.
What is going on, bro?
Hey, man, I saw you jump in before and then you left. I wasn't sure if I was going to see you, Ronnie.
Yeah, I'm back. I just had to adjust the webcam, you know what I mean?
All right, all right, all right. Well, so we have a show today where we will update our good Yang Gang Nation.
Yes.
With the latest numbers to see how close we are to reaching our goal of getting to 50K so that we can secure Andrew for an interview with 3 lucky creators as part of the Secure the Yang team. But before we get into the current results and the leaderboard, and I just want to emphasize that at the end of the day, we're all trying to raise for Andrew and for this movement. So we're all winners if we can get him in White House.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Ronnie, before we get into the results, why don't you how have you been doing? What's going on in your world?
I've been doing pretty good, actually. I actually saw your recent upload talking about Tim Black.
Oh, shit.
I saw that recently. Huh? I did actually mention it in one of my recent videos. And obviously you brought up a lot of great points. It's interesting because a lot of people have been in my comment section saying, man, you got to get at this Tim Black guy. And honestly, I've heard of him before, but he never really appealed to me. And I do follow some other progressive YouTubers, but he never appealed to me. Nothing personal against the guy. And so I'm glad you actually dropped that video.
Well, there were good things and bad things that came out of that video. Right. I mean, I think on the one hand, it was important to kind of show a different perspective because he was I thought he was pretty harsh on Yang's position and on the Yang Gang in general. And I felt like, well, you know, we can't just like say nothing. Like otherwise people will just assume, you know, a lot of people might be mistaken that, you know, somehow Yang's like anti-people. So I made that video. I actually did a poll on Twitter because I was like, oh man, you know, you react to somebody else's video. It's gonna get, you know, pretty feisty. There's a good chance, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
And so I did a poll, and then most people were like, "Oh, go for it," and some people were like, "Oh, I don't know, it might end badly." And no, yeah, go ahead, Ronnie.
I thought it was a good idea. I thought it was good. I was going to do a reaction to your reaction, but I didn't do that.
That might be good, man. You should.
Yeah, I might do a reaction to your reaction. But what I've noticed, and I was, you know, talking to the Yang Gang on my channel. Most of the progressive YouTubers, we just have to be honest with ourselves. They like Andrew Yang, but they're for Bernie Sanders. So you might be throwing eggs in the air and nothing's going to stick because they have already buckled down, whether it's Kyle Kalinske, whether it's Tim Black, whether it's Crystal from the Hill. They like Andrew Yang. They have a good rapport with Andrew Yang, but they're all pro Bernie. So a lot of times I say, don't even waste your time arguing against them because it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think my goal was less to convert a bunch of hardcore Bernie people, but more to say, hey, if you're undecided or you like both and you hear everybody say that, well, Yang's against healthcare reform or Yang's not willing to do disruptive things, that you at least hear a pro Yang kind of perspective and with some data and kind of logic behind it. So yeah, the video did really well in terms of views and stuff. It kind of performed in like the top 30% of my typical uploads. But then I don't know, did you see Tim did a little he responded in.
No, I did not see that.
Oh,
I gotta check that out then. I didn't know he responded.
Oh,
Wow.
he responded. He responded.
Okay. I may have to do something to that video then.
Well, I think he got, well, in fairness, like I should say, he is very passionate about Bernie, and he's very passionate about single payer. And I think he was not appreciative of me kind of, putting a rebuttal out there point by point, because his view was like, hey, I don't know you. Why did you just do this? And my view is like, hey, man, if you have a YouTube channel putting out information and making accusations about Yang, then I have a right to respond. You know, it's a public kind of square.
This is YouTube. What does he expect?
You know, so that was my view. But what was most, so I knew that he was going to, I was at dinner with my family, and I was like, okay, guys, I'm going to make this video. One of three things are going to happen. Either he's going to ignore it, he's going to just dismiss it, or he's going to go on the attack.
Right.
And it turns out he went for option 3. And so which is fine. Like, I get it. Like, a lot of people think single payers, you know, the best way, or the public option is not good enough, or all, you know, there's a lot of good arguments, and it's a complex topic, and there's a lot of valid points of view. I think what was hardest was in his, my thumbnail, I had a picture of me, and then I had a picture of Tim. And I got the picture when I just went on Google search and I put Tim Black Wolfpack, and then I went to images. And the first color image that wasn't like a person selling Tim Black merch was him doing this movement, like pointing to his temples. And he believes that that was an effort to suggest that he was making fun of Asians. With doing
see, I can't do identity politics. I can't do like it's so weak sauce. I can't do it. No, that wasn't an F. That was you just said it was the first picture you found. So
yeah, you know,
that's done with. That's ridiculous.
So that was really hard for me to hear. You know, because I've experienced racism. I've had people do that to me when I was in, like, you know, junior high and stuff. I don't really like that move. And my video was more about the policy and the statistics and the polling, you know, like the Nerds for Yang kind of style. And so, but when he said, oh, you know, this guy is trying to like play the race card on me and all this kind of stuff, I was like, oh boy. So, it went back and forth all weekend. I've tried to sort of stay out of it, but, you know, some of the Nerds for Yang followers and fans or supporters have said, "Hey, Tim, like you're kind of like reaching there. Like he's not
kind of reaching. He is reaching, and it's weak. Like if you're gonna battle me with substance, battle me with policy, battle me with facts. Don't just." His feelings were hurt, and so that's why he made that up. That's just ridiculous. But I will say this: healthcare right now is probably the most #1 priority for Americans. So even and I tell the Yang Gang this, you know, don't get mad, don't have visceral reactions, because people are going to have all sorts of different ideas as far as healthcare should go. And I just want Yang to be meticulous in his wording and just be careful how he puts it out there, because like you saw with Tim Black, people are gonna flip shit if they don't hear what they want to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a topic that affects all of us, and currently, I mean, clearly the current system is broken and not sustainable.
Right.
So I'm all for making improvements, and I think Andrew's going to be putting out a more detailed Medicare healthcare plan, kind of like what he did for climate change soon. So, you know, we'll have more flesh on the bones in terms of, you know, what he wants to do. But yeah, so that occupied a good amount of my time. What content are you putting out these days?
Well, tonight I'm gonna upload something on Evelyn Yang, their backstory, because a lot of people have been asking for that.
Yeah.
So look out for that tonight, guys. Evelyn Yang backstory. I recently dropped an ad. I didn't make it up. It was a guy named James Treagle, and he did an amazing ad, and I just wanted to shine some light on it. It's on my channel, and it was a really good ad. He did a really good ad for Yang, and I dropped that, and I shed some light on it, and I, just wanted people to see that ad, because the last 3 ads sort of had a mixed reaction as far as I've seen on my channel. People love the Evelyn Yang ad. They love the first 30-second ad. And then the last ad, I call it the $1 million ad. Some people weren't so fond of it. Some people liked it. Some people weren't so fond of it. But like I told people, if you're in Yang Gang, you're in Yang Gang. He doesn't need to convince you guys anymore. You're already in. I feel Yang was reaching out to everybody else, to that soccer mom, to that conservative dad,
right?
To other people. So that's what that ad was for, that Yang was putting out.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and so James Treagle kind of did that kind of ad with a sprinkle of Yang Gang on there.
Oh,
I think it was a really well made ad.
Let's go. Let's take a quick look at that ad. We'll go to your channel. Hold on one second.
All right.
I see it's 8 minutes, so we may not be able to read the whole, watch the whole thing, because we need to get to the leaderboard.
Yep.
But everybody, you should go to Read My Lips after or while you're doing this in another tab. But we'll look at it together. So hold on one second.
It's Andrew Yang fan made ad.
This guy, right? The James Treacle.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, sweet intro, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
And what's going on, Read My Lips people? We are back.
Is this your intro, Ronnie?
Lately, we've been talking about
there you
ads.
Go.
All right. I'm going to jump.
Universal basic.
And then we're going to come back and talk about it.
Universal basic income. Sounds like science fiction, a utopian dream. But it's no fantasy. It's as fundamental as clean air and clean water, a good education, or healthcare. It's a floor on which to stand, an inheritance we're owed, a share in our society, a dividend that pays through our whole lives. We need more than wages. We need capital, because capital grows, and capital is power. The power to live, the power to create, the power to share, the power to choose. We call that power freedom. It's what we fight for, what we march for, what we vote for. We owe it to ourselves. Let's collect the check. Let's collect the freedom dividend. Vote for Andrew Yang as the Democratic nominee for president in 2020. We owe it to ourselves.
Oh, yeah. I like that one.
Yeah, that was a really good ad.
That was a really great ad.
Yeah, it had the
and I like that guy's voice too.
Yeah, I feel like going and watching a movie. He needs to do trailers for movies. That was really good.
A story about freedom.
coming to Netflix. That was really good.
Right. That's right. That was great. That was great. So then, and then, like a little teaser for. So you've got a video about Evelyn backstory coming up. So people should subscribe to Read My Lips. But what? Any one or two little tidbits you can share that you thought were maybe people might not know about her that you thought was particularly interesting?
When and how they met, how long they've been talking, and what she did prior. What she did prior to, before Yang started doing this run for president and the kids came about and stuff like that. I think people will find it interesting.
Yeah. I might. Is she was like in marketing, or is that a general area or no?
That general area. Yes.
Okay, so we'll have to watch your video to get the full details.
Absolutely.
Okay, now I think before we go into the current standings, we should let's watch the official ad too.
Yes.
And just because I think it's a pretty good one. Although, were you saying that some people didn't like it?
I thought it was good. I thought it was well made. I think he used some of the people that Bernie used to work with on ads.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought it was fine. It's just some people thought, and The Hill Rising said the same thing. Some people thought it was really politician-y. But Yang's definitely not, a politician. He doesn't come off as a politician. He's real down to earth. He's like my next door neighbor. You know what I mean? So a lot of people didn't like that, but I think it's necessary because, again, like I said, you got to get the people outside of Yang Gang.
I agree. And in fact, I think if it's a little on the more well-produced side, I actually think that complements what people know about. They know that he's an informal guy that rides a skateboard and like crowd surfs and stuff. But I think other people need to see him as like, oh yeah, this guy could be in the White House. This is a serious presidential candidate. So let's watch this one together. Hold on one second. A New Way Forward. Share audio.
The son of immigrants who came here seeking the American dream, Andrew Yang. His parents taught him about hope and hard work, a leader in education. Andrew Yang, the founder of Venture for America, a nonprofit that helped create thousands of jobs. President Obama named Andrew a champion of change, and his ideas are a blueprint for a new way forward. An economy where big tech and Wall Street are held accountable. A healthcare system with Medicare for all that takes on drug companies to lower prices. A fight against climate change that confronts big polluters.
We have to rewrite the rules of the 21st century so that they work for us.
Andrew Yang, parent, patriot, not a politician. A new leader who understands that what's coming is the greatest economic transformation in history and who can lead us in the fight for the future that we want. For President Andrew Yang, a new way forward.
I'm Andrew Yang, and I approve this message.
Hell yes. Yes.
That was fire. But I'm just going to come out and say it. The Trigo ad was better.
But
I think they were both fire. But
they were both fire, but the Treacle ad was longer too, which would be more costly to put out on TV, right? Or was the Treacle ad also the same length? Was also like
I think they're around
were they similar?
Yeah.
Oh, so you preferred the fan-made one?
Yeah, and it might have something to do with his voice too. I don't, like you said, his voice is really distinct.
Oh,
yeah, I think that's really what it is.
It's interesting. I wonder if you're looking for women voters, would they respond more to a male narrator or a female narrator? That could be part of it, right?
That's a good point.
Like you and I are like, yeah, man, it's like Armageddon Independence Day. You know?
Right. Yeah. It had to build up. It had the energy. Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't know if that appeals to everyone. Maybe we should. Well, if we raise enough money, maybe we can run both of them and just have iOSC both.
There you go. There you go.
All right. So I am going to now reveal the current status. So the reason why we're all here, and we have 177 concurrents. So that's great. Got a nice little crowd, and then people will see this on replay. The reason we're all here is we are part of the Secure the Yang Challenge, which means 12 volunteers, mainly content creators, have joined forces to see if we together can help raise $50K in the month of November. And if we can, Andrew will join us for an interview where 3 of us will interview him. 2 who raise the most money, and then 1 who will be randomly selected so long as they raise at least $500. And then everybody else will also be able to submit questions for consideration, all the other participants in the challenge. And then the campaign was saying that they're going to send everybody, all 12 of us, some swag, some free stuff from the campaign. So that'll be nice as well. So let's see how we are doing. Let me see if I can pull up my spreadsheet. Here we go. Okay, hold on one second. This is just a friendly challenge, a reminder. Okay, so we've got Matthew, Fletcher, Nathaniel, and John, basically from Yang Gang Media, Campaign Trail, and then Nathaniel and John's own personal stuff. They have raised $50. You know what? Every dollar counts. That could be a bunch of flyers. It could be a bunch of signs. So thank you, John, Nathaniel, Matthew, and Fletcher. Now I'm going to go to the next one. Yang Gang Info by Austin at $61. Marcus Johnson in the 3-digit, breaks the 3-digit mark, $101. Ronnie, there you are, my man, 216. Not too shabby.
Not too shabby. Absolutely.
Give up, Ronnie. Not bad for 1 week's work.
Not bad.
You know, you raise another $300 or 284, I think. Then you'll get the minimum of 500 to be for the third spot, or kind of eligible for a third spot.
At the end of the day, it's about just getting that 50K for Yang, man.
That's right, my friend. That is right. You got Aaron from Hustle and Phil. Have you seen Aaron's stuff?
No, I have not.
Oh, dude, you should check out his channel, man. I think he's like in the media business, like editing business, because his shit is like very well produced. It makes a lot of us look very amateur. So Aaron, good, good on you. Mindwave Podcast with Jenner, 1,000. Kai Watson, almost hitting 2K.
Almost 2K, wow.
Kai is one of the most high energy people. Like every time I watch one of his videos, I'm like, I feel like I just drank a coffee, Yeah. So God bless Kai. Paget, 4 large.
I expected this. I fully expected this. Here's what I did not expect.
What's that?
She's number 3.
Oh, it's the third row. It's the third row.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a title row.
Okay.
So then there's me, 5 large. And so our total for the team is 13,992.
That's dope.
Which is already 27.98% of our goal. So if you look here, whoops, let's make this a little smaller. Hold on. We're not bad for it. So we need to hit this 50K mark. We're down here, but that's 1 week.
Yeah, that's 13K in a week. I think everybody watching this, if you made 13K in a week, I think you'd be all set.
No complaints.
Yeah, no complaints. So this is great. I love it.
Yeah. So I just wanted to congratulate everybody for pitching in. It's been super exciting, and my contact at the campaign was very excited because when we were putting this together, he was like, "Well, here's the risk. Like, if we do this, like, do you think anybody's going to want to participate?" And I was like, "No, I think we're going to get people to participate. Like, in terms of just like people like you, Ronnie, to become part of the challenge." Mm-hmm. So we got that, and then they're like, "Yeah, but if we do it, like, are we going to be able to really hit the 50?" And I was like, "I think we can." Yeah. I think the Yang Gang's ready because the Yang Gang's already digging deep, and if you give through any of the links below. Mm-hmm. Any of them, pick Ronnie's. I love Ronnie. Okay, hook up Ronnie's link, right? All the money goes to Yang, so it's the same as giving it to the website. The only difference is then I get to make these spreadsheets to track how close to 50 we are, and then we get Andrew on the show. So you get like 2 for 1. You can help Andrew, and then also get more content with him. And I think the Yang Gang interviews of Andrew, I find that they tend to be a little more interesting because we won't ask him the same stuff that the regular media ask him, like, "Oh, how will you pay for UBI?" or "What is you?"
Right,
so we can ask him more stuff. And so, thank you everybody for pitching in so far, and go check out the links below. Now, Ronnie, since we're here, I feel like we need to look at some data together.
Okay.
So hold on 1 second.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So here's the first. Let's start with the bad news.
Okay.
The bad news is these effing polls are killing us, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I could argue. I wish Hillary had called out Yang for something
because Tulsi spiked.
It has not hurt Tulsi, man.
Yeah, Tulsi spiked. There was like, I want to say 2 or 3 days where she had dropped and then a sudden spike. And part of it might have been when she went on The View. She went on The View and she completely reamed them, no loop. And and she she spiked, man. It was nothing but beneficial for Tulsi Gabbard.
I've always been impressed by her.
Mm-hmm.
However, in fairness, I thought she was kind of done for.
As did I.
And now she's back, man. She ain't messing around. I mean, she's still got a lot of road to cover.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at Gabbard around, look at this, like around October, early October, she was pretty much ones and zeros, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
Right? All ones and zeros, a 2 here and there. And then starting mid-October, 3, 2, and then 4. You know, so she probably ain't gonna drop out anytime soon.
So I mean, usually, what do they say? All news is good news, or all attention is
no such thing as bad PR or something like that.
Exactly. So I mean, Hillary, probably one of the most well-known people in politics today, called her out. It's going to get her some attention. You got to remember, Tulsi always drew attention in some way, shape, or form. She was always like the most searched person in Google, etc. She always had something going on where people are like, Tulsi, what's going on with Tulsi? So this is only just another thing to add to that. And one of the things I get in my comment section a lot is an Andrew Tulsi run. People want to see that. They really like, the Yang Gang really likes Tulsi Gabbard. They always want to see like an Andrew Tulsi thing.
Oh, Ronnie, we have an additional member of the team that just joined.
Bring him on.
Hold up. This person needs no introduction. The one, the only, the Paget.
Hi, I'm here. I wanted to say hi.
What's going on?
So what did I miss?
All right. Well, we went over the leaderboard. Did you get that part? I'll show you. Hold on one second. Basically, you're doing amazing. You raised $4,000. 4,000.
Oh, that's awesome! Wow. I have no idea where I'm at with that, but it's great to see that people are donating directly from my channel.
I love it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Somehow it works a little bit. You know, the call to actions. That's really good to see.
And
I love
we as
that.
a team have raised almost 14K, so 27.9% of our goal already.
Yay! Yeah. And so okay, question: is there a way to break down like what the average donation is through these links? I'm just curious, or just total, like how many people donated?
In terms of number of donors.
Yeah.
There is. So apparently, the Act Blue system, like every technology, doesn't have as many features as you wish it did. And so the campaign needs to kind of do a lot of manual polling. And I was like, hey, why don't you just let me look it up myself? And they're like, dude, we're not going to give you access to all the campaign's donor information. So, but what I will do, I will tell you this, for next week's update, I will see if I can get a little bit more granular data about maybe average, min, max. I don't know if we can, I can ask, and number of donors.
I was just curious because it would be actually, it would be amazing if someone like just dropped 2,800 through a link or whatever, but it would be also really amazing if you saw like a whole bunch of really small donations making up there.
I'd call that a big donor.
Yeah, that would be a very big donor.
2,800. I think I'll find out, but I wouldn't be surprised if the average is more like in the $30 range. But I know that's the case for the campaign overall. Might be interesting to see if our little team has a different composition than their average. We'll see. Yeah.
That would be really interesting. Damn it! You know what? I just donated and like I forgot to donate through my own link.
Oh, come on now! At least did you use Ronnie's link?
Oh my gosh! What am I doing?
Did you use my link?
Ronnie's link?
I just went. It was just Yang 2020.
I just have to remove Paget.
Look, you guys. There's so much stuff going on right now with the campaign. Like it's hard to I have a bad memory too. Like I do, so it's just very difficult to keep track of everything.
I've seen that on Twitter where people are like, "Oh, hey, I donated to help you with your challenge," and I reply, "I'm like, oh yeah, so use the link, right?" And they're like, "What link?" And I'm like,
God! And they put a note. This was for This is for Tom.
Yeah. I should go talk to the campaign. That one there, that was mine.
That's mine.
Yeah.
So we'll see. What have you been up to, Paget? What's going on in your world?
Oh man. I'm like constantly talking to people, whether it's like, well, it's all about Andrew Yang. Let's put it that way, really. But yeah, there's so much going on. I am feeling good about I don't know what you guys have already spoken about. One thing, can I just make an announcement for some people who are on this channel?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So for anyone who is going to go to Las Vegas, the plan is that doors open at Rio at 12, and then the rally will start at 3. And it's like, it will hold like 1,000, 2,000 people. You guys can gamble. Like, gambling's not my thing, but if you want to do that, there's, it's going to be in a casino, obviously. It's Las Vegas. And then at 5:30, everyone is going to, like, in a huge group, going to walk to Bellagio, where like the speech and dinner and stuff is happening for the media. So that's just like the general gist of what I've heard so far, in case people do not know that. That's all.
Dude, I have to say, Yang has good taste, the Bellagio.
Right.
I know.
I do declare.
I was like, when you said Rio, I was like, yeah, okay, Rio's fine. But they're doing it. So are you going to be there, Paget? Are you going?
Yeah, I am going to go.
Right on. What about you, Ronnie?
Yeah, I know that you can't
Ronnie,
go, Tom. That would be a little bit of a trek for you.
I think you got me with casino.
Yeah.
Wait, are you gonna go?
I think I might head over there. I might have to do that.
Oh yeah, baby.
Absolutely. I might have to do that. That'll be an amazing time. Yeah.
Ronnie, what is your game of choice when you go to a casino?
Listen, I'm on the slots. That's it. You're not gonna find me. I'm on the slots, and and over here in Connecticut, we have about 3 casinos, and 2 of them are notorious for taking your money. One of them you do pretty well at, but if I'm going to lose money, it's going to be on the slots.
yeah. I've been to a couple of Connecticut casinos. Wait,
Tom, do you gamble?
I have been known. to gamble. Yeah.
Okay. No, all right. So I'm curious. Actually, I would love to know this. This is a nice little stat. Can you? Can you guys determine from your memory how much you have put into gambling and how much you have actually made from it?
Oh, wow.
Data,
lifetime?
Math.
Lifetime?
Yes.
So for me,
wow, you have to even say lifetime. Okay. Yeah.
Is it like last week or last month?
Yeah, I was like, well, yeah, lifetime, right? I mean, you only did it a couple times.
So I play a lot of poker. That's the only game I play. And when I was younger and in college, and after college, I lost way more than I won. Because I think I was pretty impulsive, and I was more kind of like looking for the thrill and the kind of adrenaline. Yeah. And over the years, I've sort of taken a more measured approach. And now it's rare that I don't leave with a little bit more than I bought in for, but I wouldn't be able to do it for a job or anything. But if I break even at the casino, I'm a happy man. So, but my early years, I really sucked.
Poker players.
What's that, Paget?
I respect poker a little bit more.
Yeah, well, you're just insulting Ronnie, the slot master.
Well, I mean, I know most people love the slot, but
we just kicked Paget out.
I've got a tattoo that says the slot master. What are you talking about?
Oh, wait, do you really, Ronnie, do you really play the slots a lot? I just thought
I don't even gamble a lot. I'll be honest. I don't even gamble a lot. And Tom was saying he goes to some in Connecticut. I know there's Foxwoods, there's Mohegan.
Foxwoods is where I used to go when I was living in Boston.
See, that's the one I always lose at. I win at Mohegan though.
There you go. Well, maybe I should have gone to the Mohegan. Those were my early years when I would lose a lot of money. Yeah. So Paget, we were also talking about this whole Medicare for all debate. Is that percolating with your peeps?
Yeah, but I'm just like, okay, and I don't want to come off like aggressive or whatever. I'm just like, it's so freaking stupid. Like, I'm just so over it. Like, I'm so over this whole Medicare for all. Like, okay, if you copyrighted it, fine, but then don't like get all like crazy about the fact that he doesn't want to outlaw private insurance. I mean, I just think that it's a ridiculous kind of argument against Andrew Yang. I think it is really pulling at, what do they say? Pulling at straws, or it's really like reaching. I feel like, because they don't really have any other arguments against him. But I'm just like, hello, federal jobs freaking guarantee. Like, I mean, that is a big part of your plan, and like we can rip that to shreds. So I'm just annoyed with the whole Medicare for all thing. I mean, maybe he should call it universal health care, but that is what the majority of Americans want. They want universal health care while also being able to keep private insurance and keeping private insurance, competitive. And also lowering the prescription drug prices. Like, that's what most Americans actually want. And his like overall goal is, yes, like a Medicare for all single payer system that Bernie is advocating for, but we can't like just spring that on Americans and like outlaw private insurance over the course of 4 years. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to get passed.
It's, again, like I told Tom, we just have to be very meticulous in how we talk about it, because look, the progressives and the left, it's not going to go away. They are going to continue to hammer that Andrew Yang isn't for Medicare for all. And like you said, maybe he should call it something else. I'd have had that suggested in the comment section. I don't think he's going to change the name. I think he's going to continue to call it Medicare for all. But that's not going, I don't even bother arguing with anybody anymore, because as long as Andrew is not for Bernie's bill, step by step, they are going to say he's not for Medicare for all. So I just let it go in the wind at this point. He has a different path. To get there.
Do you actually think it's good publicity for him to have this controversy? Because most people don't even want the Medicare for all version that Bernie Sanders is proposing. Like, the majority of Americans don't. Like, I actually just see it as like, okay, the more they can publicize Andrew Yang, maybe the better.
Yeah, all publicity is good publicity. You're just not gonna get the Sanders supporters to cross the line. Well, some of them you may get, but the
standard
progressive,
or the extreme progressives, I would say. But yeah, okay,
And like I was telling Tom, there's a lot of big YouTubers. Whether it's Secular Talk from Kyle Kalinske, Tim Black, David Pacman, Sam Cedar, you name it. They are all far left, and they are all for Bernie, and they're all for Bernie's version of Medicare for all. So when you have, they have hundreds and hundreds upon thousands of subscribers, and so when they're hammering this every day, it makes it an uphill battle for us. However, like you said, all publicity is good publicity, and the more people that hear about Andrew Yang and what he has to offer, I think the more on board they'll come.
So I have some statistics about this, if you guys will indulge me.
Sure.
Oh yes, this is where you come in with all the numbers, Tom. So please, this is your channel.
I can't help it. I might not be addicted to gambling, but I do love statistics. Okay, so here is a study by the Kaiser Family Foundation, published in ProPublica. And what I will call your attention to, actually, I have a better one. Hold on a second. Sorry. Share screen, Chrome. I think it was this one. Share. Okay. So they did a study in July, and they asked people about their openness to Medicare for all. And 63% respond favorably to the term Medicare for all and universal health coverage. However, when they are informed that it could also mean single payer, that support goes from 63 to 49. And then if it means eliminating private insurance, the support drops even further. And 60% are opposed to a national health care plan. So my position on this whole Medicare for all debate is, we're not here to win a Democratic Party purity test. We're here to win the White House.
Yes.
Right? So,
and get things done.
if we nominate someone who wants to advocate a plan that most of the country is against, it is like giving Donald Trump like a huge present with a bow on top, because he's going to say, look, the socialists, this is a socialist written plan by a socialist senator. They want to take your private insurance, and then they're going to take your guns, blah, 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 open borders. And it's going to be a field day for Trump. And, you know, these Trump voters are highly fired up, and the impeachment is only like getting them more animated. So I think if we trot out like Elizabeth Warren with her whole like the government's going to solve all your problems stuff, I worry like we're basically going to get another 4 years of Trump. And you know, if you think the first 4 years were bad, imagine if he doesn't have to worry about re-election.
Oh my gosh.
And he'll be pushing 78. He's not like getting sharper each day.
No, his brain's melting like Joe Biden.
His brain melts quicker. No, I'm just joking. That's
you know, it's not, he doesn't have his fastball, and he hasn't surrounded him. All the people who were strong, like whether you agree with them or not, like Rex Tillerson or Mattis, like they're all gone. So it'll just be like him and Rudy and Ivanka and Jared, like, and that's frightening.
It's like I said, Yang in the general, if Yang got to the general, he'd sweep Trump. It'd be an easy win, in my opinion. I think the primaries are where the troubles are, and you're gonna have to get past the Warrens, and you're gonna have to get past the Sanders, and you're gonna have to get past the Biden, who has that default vote. A lot of people, when you ask them like who are you going for, they're like, I don't know, Biden. So if Yang can get past that, general's easy. That's an easy.
Oh yeah. I mean, do you guys also share the same sentiment? So like from my perspective, like for instance, like Bernie, I love Bernie, but he has so radicalized the left in a way, to a degree that I think is like super polarizing at this point. And I think Warren is similar, but then she also has that establishment credibility, which makes her actually even worse for Trump voters. But like, do you guys think that there is anyone else who could beat Donald Trump?
I'll be honest. I'll be upfront. The next closest person that actually could be done, I'm not saying for sure, but the closest would actually be a Bernie Sanders, because he does move his base. People will come out and vote for Bernie Sanders, especially the younger crowd. Not like an Andrew Yang who appeals to everybody, but Bernie Sanders does appeal to enough people that they will come out and vote. I just don't know if it's enough to defeat Donald Trump, but I don't see a Biden doing it. He doesn't energize anybody. I don't see a Warren doing it. Obviously not a Kamala Harris. I think a Tulsi Gabbard, if she was big enough.
Yes, that's the only other person.
Yeah, a Tulsi Gabbard could do it. She hits literally all the check marks people are looking for, but she's got to get past, you know, she's not getting past Yang. So, yeah, you know, a Tulsi for sure, Bernie probably, possibly, but nobody else besides Andrew Yang is surefire in the general, for sure.
What do you think, Tom?
I have some data on this. Hold on one second.
He has some data.
I can't help it. Oh my God. All right. So this is the New York Times. They did this a few days ago. The head-to-head matchup between Trump and Biden, Sanders, and Warren. Few takeaways. One is that Warren would have a lot of difficulty against Trump in Michigan, would be a coin flip in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. In fairness, she would be +2 in Arizona. Sanders would do a little better. And according to these polls, Biden would do best. But I think, Ronnie, your point I tend to agree with, which is I think your argument is around turnout and energizing the Democratic vote. And it's hard to, I don't know if Biden as a candidate could do it, but I almost feel like Trump will turn out the Democratic vote for us in a way.
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know. I did a poll. I did a poll in the community tab, and it got, you know, a couple hundred. And I put, if Andrew Yang did not make it through, and we had another Democrat get through the general, would you A, not vote, B, vote for the Democratic nominee, or C, vote for Trump? And 56% was not vote. So most of the people said they wouldn't even bother going and voting.
Yeah. That is actually exactly what I was thinking too, is that, you know, like Democrats, only 27 something percent. I mean, you probably have the number on this, Tom. Is it like 23 or 27% of Americans are Democrats? And then
I don't know that number, but that sounds right.
Yeah. And then a slightly higher percentage, I think, are Republicans. And then everyone else is just independent or whatever. That's my problem, is that I think some of these independents who would absolutely turn out for Andrew Yang, like excitedly, they're just not going to show up, and they make up a huge like, you need to win over those independents.
Yes.
And if Biden can't show up, I do not think he can, then
how can they allow Donald Trump to remain in the Oval Office?
Well, there's a lot of people that have the theory, you made your bed, now lie in it. So if you have a candidate like Andrew Yang who's telling you are the steps to fix a lot of the problems we're facing, and you don't put him through, okay, so you don't want this? All right, raise your bed, lie in it. That it's up to the candidate to earn your vote. If they don't earn your vote, why is somebody going to give them their vote? They did it with, they did the lesser of two evil things with Hillary Clinton, and they saw that turned out. So I don't think people would come out and vote for Biden. I'm not seeing it. I don't think.
What if there's like a crazy orange-haired person in your bed? I don't want to be in that bed, dude. I'd rather sleep on the floor, man. I don't know. This guy's so terrible. Like when you read his letter to Erdogan in Turkey, or you just watch his press conference, like he makes no sense.
But Tom, he's like president. Like we can't ignore the fact that like a certain number of people have cared enough to like make him our president.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate, but like
have an 85% approval rating in the Republican Party.
85. That's why I don't know why the Democrats.
I'm sorry, what did you just say?
85% of Republicans approve of him.
Yes.
And of those who approve of him, 62% said that there's nothing he could do that would change their mind about him.
Yeah. Now that I'm not surprised about.
Remember, he said he can shoot somebody dead in the street on Fifth Ave and they'd still vote for him, and he wasn't wrong. And I just literally, the last video I dropped yesterday was Andrew Yang's Republican appeal, or Trump voter appeal, and he has that 10%. 10% of Republicans said they will vote for Andrew Yang. Is that crossover? And now, when Yang first started speaking about this, and I put the compilation in the video, he said, "There's only two people that get that 10% Republican crossover. It's me and Bernie Sanders." He's changed his rhetoric. He says now I'm one of the only people. He doesn't mention Sanders anymore, which is smart on his end. But a lot of my friends that are Republicans would vote for Andrew Yang. They said this themselves, and they're not necessarily Trump supporters. They're Republicans. There's a difference, and that's huge. That is huge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing that I heard was, if you want to not repeat what happened to Hillary, there are some key groups that you need to turn out much larger, like basically Obama style. You've got to get young people to come out and vote. You've got to get African Americans, and you have to get white working class. And when I think about those three groups, I don't know. I don't feel like Biden energizes all three groups. Maybe he does better with white working class. Warren, I don't know, maybe the young people. I'm not sure.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But like Yang, I could see, him having an appeal to all of them.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Warren, among college students, it was shown in a recent poll, she is number 2. Bernie is number 1 at like 34%. It's crazy.
I think
and then Warren is like 20 something, and then Yang is at 10%. But again, I think this more has to do with name recognition. Again, like even if college students are paying a little bit more attention, I still don't think the majority of them are. And so it's big one is name recognition, what their parents are saying, what they hear, in passing. But I do not think that support for Warren is deep whatsoever. But I feel like the support for Bernie among college students, there is, and I'm not saying it's all 34%. I do not think that it's the case whatsoever, but I do think there's a significant percentage of them that are super Bernie. Like they are not going to go anywhere other than Bernie.
Yep. And if Bernie doesn't get through, they might not even come out and vote. Legit.
Right.
Legit.
Well, but I mean, climate change is such a big issue for them. Like, they might think, wait a second, we can't have Trump waste 4 more years when it comes to climate change. I do actually think that would inspire a lot of young people to vote against him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
no, I agree. That is incredibly important, and that, you know, if you hammer that home, that might get people to be like, you know what, you're right. We can't have this guy screwing the climate anymore. Yeah. No, I hear you.
Hopefully.
I'm not saying it's going to be enough for him to win or anyone else to win, but yeah, I'm just, yeah.
All right, I have some bad news for us. You want?
Oh, is it data?
I have some bad news. This will be the last data break that we'll take. I was looking at Google Trends, like searches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, you know, you look at Bernie. We should add Elizabeth Warren too. Elizabeth Warren. The last 30 days in the U.S. national searches, you've got Bernie and Warren and Buttigieg. Like, we used to be the king of web searches. And let me go back 90 days, past 90. And let's see what the trend looks like.
Look at that.
That's Bernie. Well, that's when he had the heart attack.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. All right.
And then you had Warren. I guess this is around the debates, maybe.
Warren.
The October debates, right?
Yep. Because she was getting destroyed on stage.
Yeah. So, but you can see clearly Bernie and Warren are getting a lot of searches last 90 days. And if you say again,
can you add Klob?
Oh, Klobuchar.
Cloud boot jar.
I need to remove one then. I can only have
remove
five.
Harris. No one cares right now.
Yeah. She needs to just throw in the towel herself. She's done with it.
Amy.
I mean, the Twitter thing at the last debate was like,
reaching.
I was like, no, I was like, really? Why are you doing this?
She was reaching.
I don't think Kloby is a big threat on the web search front, at least.
I'm just curious because after the last debate, like, she got so much attention plus Buttigieg that it really helped her. Okay, good. All right,
she's still a distant. Now, if we go last 30 days, maybe we see if she's had more action.
No, but Tom, this is interesting because she hasn't really risen in terms of the Google searches, but she has risen in the polls. So
she has.
The Google searches, I think they do indicate some sort of demographic, but maybe not the, poll demographic or whatever. I mean, we all know that they probably do not because the polls are all like, Yeah,
let's see. I actually just changed. No, yeah. So we're doing good. She's definitely behind, but there's a lot of interest in Buttigieg and Sanders and Warren right now. That's just
I'm really surprised people are Googling Pete Buttigieg. I don't.
Now we look at YouTube. We typically do way better on YouTube than web. Ooh, no.
Wait, are you able to make it Iowa? And in the past 7 days, someone just
sure Iowa. That Iowa data is going to be really noisy because there's not that many people.
Yeah, right.
But let's start with web. Iowa web last 7.
Oh my
Buttigieg.
God.
Buttigieg is number 1, then Bernie, then Warren, then us, then Kloby.
Okay, interesting.
Somebody just wrote Klobuchar is quite friendly with Yang. So I wouldn't speak badly of her. That is false. I actually uploaded a video of her bad mouthing Yang, so that is not true.
Well, we're all gonna have to work together in the general.
This is true.
Okay, then the YouTube.
Tom, you're so funny. You're very unlike all of us who are like Yang or nothing. You're just like, not Trump.
I love. I love Yang. I love him, but
I know,
we need to build the coalition if we're going to get him in the White House. It won't. The gang alone can't get him. Like, we're going to need all those Klobuchar and Sanders and
how do you
Bernie.
do you think because like O'Rourke just dropped out. Do you think as people drop out, they're gonna collectively start coming towards Yang? Because like Tom, you had said, they weren't for the big three. They weren't for the you know what I mean? So since they already weren't going for those people, I can see them kind of going towards an Andrew Yang. The more people drop out, the more I think his base is going to build.
I think there's a case to be made for that. Unfortunately, the data I saw was that Warren is the top second choice for anyone who's not already for Warren. Jeez. So she will definitely collect some. And the other thing is a lot of these people dropping out, like when Castro drops out, it's like fighting over crumbs. There's not but we welcome all Castro supporters to the Yang Gang. There's just not like arenas full of them.
And the Cory Booker supporters.
We love the Cory Booker. And you know, Cory and Andrew, they seem like they have good chemistry.
They seem pretty cool. And I think if Cory dropped out, I think they'd go to the Yang Gang for sure.
Yeah, but like Cory's also like only what's he at? He's at hold on. He's just a couple percent. So
isn't Cory the only other person who has
he's got 2.3.
No, not the only other, but who has nuclear in his climate change plan?
I believe so.
There's some overlap with him and Andrew.
Yeah, anyway. I saw one video of the two of them hanging out. Where did you see the one where Yang kind of goes up to
and he goes, "Yay!"
Yeah, he's like, "Yeah!" like they're like they're in a college fraternity.
Yeah. They seem pretty cool. I think if when Cory drops out, I think his supporters are going to go to the Yang Gang for sure.
It would be great if when people drop out, they won't do it, but it would be great if they could say, "Hey, I support this person. I hope people really take a good look at him." But I think they don't want to like exclude themselves from cabinet posts for Warren or Biden, right?
Right.
So they have to play it cool.
Yeah. Yes, that's a very good.
Now, if any of them had real conviction and courage, then they would say, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that.
When has that ever really happened in modern day politics?
Right. Everybody's playing chess, not checkers. So they're pre-thinking all their moves.
Yeah. Well, the good news is with the new ads that are running, and if we have like a kick-ass raise in the fourth quarter, all we need to do is do better than expected in Iowa, and then a little bit better than expected still in New Hampshire and South Carolina, and stuff can happen really fast. But between now and Iowa, like it's go time. And in fact, the biggest risk, in my opinion, and someone was asking me like, "Oh, well, I think I'm going to give a little bit later. Or I'm going to give a little bit each month," which is great. It's better than nothing,
of course.
But we need to put the money to work yesterday. And we have not yet qualified for the December debates. And, you know, you need 4%, and freaking like the poll gods keep us down at 3%. It's like right up to the threshold. So, I mean, he needs to spend money because as you guys have seen, like the media coverage. Okay, I told you I wouldn't show you any more data. This will be the last time.
I think Yang said he wanted to make $1 million by today. Today's the last day to make that $1 million he wanted.
No, tomorrow is.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. Here is national CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, right? And if you look here on November 10th, like Biden, of course, he's going to get mentioned because his son's kind of caught up in all the Ukraine stuff. Warren gets mentioned 139 times. Sanders over 100. Buttigieg 50. Yang 6. Like that's every time those candidates get a free mention on national news, it's as if they're raising tens of thousands, like they're getting like a $100,000 donation. You know,
money. Yeah.
So that's CNN, MSNBC, Fox, and then if you go to network news like ABC, CBS, NBC, they're even more stingy with their coverage. So November 10th, they mentioned Biden 5 times and nobody else.
Wow.
And then on November 9th, they did Biden. Oh, freaking Booker, man. That guy gets coverage. Booker, Warren, Sanders, nobody else. On the 8th, Biden, Warren, Sanders, nobody else. So like this is like if we don't basically offset the blackout,
Yeah.
It's we're kind of fighting an uphill battle here, and we have to beat the odds. You know, we have to kind of force our way in.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. The ads are necessary, which is why we need to donate now so they can keep rolling those out.
Yeah.
She hasn't seen the James Trigo ad.
All right, so should we here's what we should do. We're at the 59-minute mark. I think we're going to wrap, but we will close with Ronnie's favorite ad. Let me see if I can find it. I closed the tab, of course, because I was like, well, we're not going to watch that ad again, but let's see. Ronnie, let's see. While I'm pulling this up, let me ask you each one question, which is there a topic or a point that you wanted to make about this campaign that you haven't been able to yet that you want to make sure everybody hears? Paget, you go first.
Important point that I don't already try to make in every single video of mine.
Do it again. Repetition.
Well, which is really just that, you know, I've heard from some people in the tech industry who are connected to people in the tech industry and yada, yada. And they literally communicated to me that Andrew Yang is kind of our, I mean, in so many words, kind of our only hope. Like, we need to elect this man as our president, like now, like yesterday, in order to make the changes that we are going to need going into the future, because they see everything that is coming down the pipeline and they are scared. And it's just really interesting how the closer you are to tech and automation, the more scared you actually are, which is a huge indicator that we should be like really taking some notes from them, because they are the future. So from my perspective, it's like we have to act like this is like kind of like an all or nothing situation where we have to put everything into this.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Sorry, that sounded really like depressing, but anyway, you asked me like, so
it's truth, man. It's truth. Paget,
facts over feelings.
Ronnie, what you got?
Look, this is real. What Andrew Yang is speaking about as far as like the job loss, it's real. I said it. I was in Stop and Shop, you know, last week, and a robot literally went down the aisle, and they call it Marty. And my mother's a pharmacist, and she said in the pharmacy she's at, they have a little robot in there as well. So people are literally losing jobs and being replaced, and companies would rather pay money to do maintenance on this Marty bot every so often than pay people a wage. So listen to what Andrew Yang is saying. UBI is necessary, because we can be stagnant if we want. The changes are going to keep coming. Just like Russell was talking about from Grassroots Yang Gang, the changes are going to come. So we need something for ourselves, and UBI is it.
Let me tell you guys a story before we go to our outro ad that relates to what both of you were saying. So I live, as many people know, I live in Switzerland, where we have very high wages, like labor costs. And the landlord in the house that I'm renting, he has a father and son team mow the lawn, right? And they make a good living. They have like a landscaping business. And then one day, a different set of people came, and they were like digging a hole in the lawn. And I asked my wife, I said, what's going on over there? And she said, oh, the landlord is installing a automated grass cutter, a lawnmower. So it's basically like a Roomba, but it cuts your lawn.
Okay.
And then the next week, the regular landscaping guy came, and he said to me, he's like, hey, what's that hole for? What are they? What's going on over there? And I was like, oh, I don't know. You may want to talk to the owner about that. But long story short, they installed the automated grass cutter. And now that father and son team, like, they only come like once every couple months to like cut the hedges and stuff. And they're screwed. Like, they're not going to become coders, and they're not going to become data scientists overnight. So, I mean, it's happening, not just like, especially here, because labor costs are so high that it really, the economic incentive to automate is very high. So like at the McDonald's here, it's just like a bank of the automated ordering systems. And so, yeah. And then in terms of Paget, you were talking about technology. Have you got, you may have read in the news about the quantum supremacy breakthrough. Basically, there's been a huge breakthrough in the computing power of supercomputers. And basically, the latest advances that were just announced a few weeks ago are way faster than even last year's best supercomputers. And here's the order of magnitude. So like you get an iPhone 10 or iPhone 11, they're like, oh, the processor is 20% faster, or 50% brighter pictures. The difference between the latest quantum computing and the just last month's supercomputers is 1.5 trillion times faster.
Wow, that's ridiculous.
Now, in fairness,
like exponential.
Yeah,
oh my God.
yeah. And so, in fairness, there's folks at IBM. So Google is the one that published this paper, and the IBM guys are like, oh, it's actually only like 100 billion times faster. It's not a trillion, but it's freaking way faster, right? And if you think like, oh, self-driving cars, like that's hard, but when you have 1 trillion times faster computing power, you could do all kinds of amazing things. And it will be a very bright world for us if we can transition and make use of all this technology. But the people who are doing jobs that are going to be automated away, like we can't just turn our back on them. And we've got to find a way to kind of like dampen that transition and kind of soften that kind of that inflection point, so that they have a way to evolve and find new work without worrying about whether they can feed themselves. And so, I'm all for work. But I also feel like there needs to be an economic floor, especially when, that automation, when it's that good and that AI is that good, it's not just factory workers and truck drivers. Like it's going to be white collar jobs.
Yes.
Yep. I think I heard that the limiting factor was just like the processing power or something of technology in terms of disrupting all these other industries, including like even actors and things like that. Like,
you think about the quality of deep fakes now, and that's with like very old computing power. When we leverage like the full potential, it's going to be nuts. That's why, like, now you have a movie, like an actor passes away, like you can actually finish the movie.
Did they do that? What's her name?
Katharine Hepburn, or no, not Katharine, Audrey Hepburn.
Audrey Hepburn, yes. Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, so before we put on the ad, I just want to remind everybody, in the description below are 12 links. Pick whichever ones you want. Donate to multiple. We know Ronnie's
really just us three.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
But you could strongly consider us. But the rest are also working really hard. And let me now play this ad. Have you seen this this ad that Ronnie's a big fan of?
I don't know if I have or not. Is it? Did it win the video contest?
No, it did not. I actually have to look at that. But
it won Ronnie's contest.
Ronnie's my contest.
Like the new Ebert and Siskel of TV.
Okay, let's watch it. I want to watch it.
All right, here we go. This is not the ad.
Talk about it.
Universal basic income sounds like science fiction, a utopian dream, but it's no fantasy. It's as fundamental as clean air and clean water, a good education, or healthcare. It's a floor on which to stand, an inheritance we're owed, a share in our society, a dividend that pays through our whole lives. We need more than wages. We need capital, because capital grows, and capital is power. The power to live, the power to create, the power to share, the power to choose. We call that power freedom. It's what we fight for, what we march for, what we vote for. We owe it to ourselves. Let's collect the check. Let's collect the freedom dividend. vote for Andrew Yang as the Democratic nominee for president in 2020. We owe it to ourselves.
Woo!
Come on.
Well, I do get a little goosebumps.
That was
So wait, that is the new ad?
No, that's a fan-made ad. A guy
fan-made ad. That's a grassroots Yang Gang ad that came out of James Treacle. Is that his name?
James
Treacle. Yeah.
They kept on my channel. They kept telling me, "You got to look at this ad. Look at this ad." And I'm like, "All right, fine." I look at the ad and I'm like, "Holy crap!" So I uploaded it on my channel, gave him the kudos, and told everybody to check him out. It's a really dope ad.
Imagine if that was playing on Monday Night Football last night.
Come on Monday Night Football. Yes.
You see
okay,
that?
I have to be the minority in this chat. I mean, in this little thing right here. I really liked it. Maybe it's because I don't want to say it's a sexist thing, but maybe
we were just talking about that.
We were just talking. I want to hear this.
What?
No, I want to hear what you have to say.
You tell us first. Why didn't you like it?
I don't know. It didn't quite appeal as much to me. Again, it felt a little bit cold. Like, I personally want something that is going to like tear at my heartstrings a little bit. That didn't quite do that. So I didn't have an emotional response. And typically, like, I need an emotional response mixed with a message for me to make that, to have that strong reaction. The message was great. But then, like, maybe it was the images that were used. Maybe it was the way things were worded. Maybe it was the fit sounded. Again, I don't understand. Like, actually, this is one thing I had about the other ad. The voice sounded like it was Siri 2.0. And then this ad also kind of sounded like that, except the male version. I would rather hear Andrew Yang's voice.
Oh, so you didn't like the new wave?
You guys are gonna like now rip me to shreds. I do not know who made this, but they're incredibly talented because I thought this was an official ad.
Yes,
right. They're incredibly talented. No, I like I was saying with Tom, this ad's not going to appeal to everybody, but it will appeal to some. It was like sort of a mixture. It had enough Yang Gang on there, just like the $1 million ad that he came out with not that long ago. It's not going to appeal to everybody, but it will appeal to a lot of people outside of Yang Gang. But you did bring up a good point. You want to hear Andrew Yang's voice. I would actually be interested in hearing an entire ad with Yang speaking in it as well.
Yeah, that might be good, where he's just sitting like on a stool with like kind of a very simple background, and he's just sort of telling stories or sharing his vision. Yeah.
You know how other people like fan-made ads or like videos and stuff where they just used his speeches. They used the best parts of his speeches. Like Yang Stream did one with Kilgrave Films. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was like 6 minutes though. But that really landed home with me. And they pretty much only used Andrew Yang's voice in the background as voiceover, overlaid with all of these like moving images, these epic images or these heartfelt images. And I was like, damn, like that hit me in the heartstrings. But anyway.
No.
So did you prefer the new way forward, or it sounds like you didn't like that one either?
No, I did actually really like that because I was looking at it from a strategic perspective. While it didn't resonate with me personally, like because I know Andrew and I know he has so much more, but from if I look at it objectively, I was like, okay, I'm so glad that he hit up on all the other points and he didn't stress the freedom dividend because, you know, now people are just being introduced to him as a person and that he does care about these other issues and he has a family. And I really like the ad for its purpose.
What about the second one, the Evelyn Yang ad? How'd you feel about that one? Where she was speaking, it was after
where she was talking about how important insurance is and how raising a kid. That one.
So when I first saw it, I was a little bit like, oh, it's very soft, and I'm not really sure, you know, because we know so much about him. But then when I went to Iowa and I spoke to Iowans about that ad, they were like, that was so perfect.
Yeah,
for
I agree.
Iowa.
Yep,
because
that was
it's so family based. Like honestly, it's something that my sister would want to see from a candidate.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that he has young kids is quite unique, right? Not a lot of the candidates have young kids, right? I mean, the front runners have grandchildren.
Right.
Who are like going to college. Yeah. So, all right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. But I want to remind everybody the links are below to donate. And if you can help us raise $50K for Andrew, number one, it'll help him overcome this media BS bias against him. It'll help us surprise people in Iowa and New Hampshire and South Carolina. And if we do that, like, anything's possible on Super Tuesday. And then lastly, it'll help us get another interview out of Andrew, and we can ask questions that aren't your standard, well, tell us about UBI kind of questions. So that'll be great. So with that, any last words before we wrap up, guys?
Or not have to do an interview at some point. I got an interview. I interviewed Russell from Grassroots Yang Gang. And after that interview, everyone was like, I got to interview. I have to interview you. Everybody, like, it's always in my comment section. So we got to, I know you're busy. You're busier than I am for sure. So we got to set that up.
Ronnie?
Not you, Tom. This beautiful, lovely.
I was gonna say.
Oh wait, no, I was wondering who you were talking to.
Yeah, Paget. Yep. So we got
the royal you. It's the capital, the royal you. There's only one you.
So we got to set up.
No, I seriously thought you were talking to Tom this whole time.
Me and Tom talk all the time. We're gonna.
Yeah, you know.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Ronnie's like, dude, I can get charts anywhere.
So we got to set up an interview sometime.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, it's so funny because Kai just texted me earlier and was like, I want to interview you. And I'm like, okay, we should both have each other on each other's channels at some point.
Yeah.
And Tom, I'm going to interview you in December, right? You said early December?
Yeah. I'll be in
California.
California.
Reach out to me, okay? You can email me at Paget4Yang or message me on Twitter or something. Actually, email me because Twitter is crazy.
Yeah, it is. I got you.
All right. Sure. So we will wrap up there, and we will see everybody next week with another update. Hopefully we'll be even closer to our goal. Maybe we can get to the 50% mark. That would be amazing.
That would be dope.
And everybody have a wonderful week, and go Yang Gang. See you guys later.
Yeah, go Yang Gang. Bye.
Go Yang Gang.
All right.